All right, how's everybody doing? Shh. David Wiggins, wave your arm. You guys know David Wiggins? Shh. He's passing a box around to raise funds for Share the Love. So if you've got a few dollars in your pocket and you'd like to donate it for wheelchairs, put it in the box. Shh. And you're going to make somebody's life completely different. Thanks for your generosity on that. This is his idea. We did it last March, and we raised a lot of money for wheelchairs. Thank you very much. Find your seats also, guys, because we're going to get rolling with panels. But he's going to come around. So say hello to David. Love it. Pass it around. Take one down and pass it around. No, you're good. I will. And we're going to do takeaways, but find a seat. Shh. I'm hearing so many great things. Are you guys having fun? Love it. All right, well, while we're transitioning, who's got a takeaway from this morning? Raise your hand. Forrest. Have you guys met Forrest yet? I hope so.
I like how Chuck said, don't try, right? Just do. I think that's the best part. You hear this, you hear it at all the groups is, I'm trying this, I'm trying that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, he said, just do it. That's the best takeaway I got.
Yeah, don't talk about it. Do it. The do it movement. Yes, it's so important. Who else has a takeaway from this morning? Shh. Okay, Michael.
Raps might take a little while to wrap your mind around it, but it can be done.
It does take a little time. I love doing raps, but they're more work, but they're worth it.
For me, Chuck was very inspiring that you're never too old to start. As someone 51 and just starting, like I felt old, so it's like really awesome. And also that your first thought of what you will do may not be where you land. Like he did wholesaling, flipping, like, you know, you can find your niche after trying a couple of things.
86, you're a young man. All right, anyone else with a takeaway? Oh, here we go.
Yesterday and today, I've really had many aha moments at the fact that nobody here is afraid to state who they trust in what they do. So people are talking about trusting in the Lord. Scripture was given, prayer was given, songs about America. This is very invigorating for me.
It's unique, isn't it?
It is. And thank you to all you.
You know, I'm glad you said that because it is unique, and we got Amazing Grace coming up at break, and Tim Davis is going to play the guitar and Sharon's going to sing. But you're right, we do sort of integrate our faith reasonably boldly without shoving it in people's face. So it's a little bit of a balance, but I'm glad you mentioned that because that is everything to me, as Paul White knows. By the way, do you know Paul? You guys know Paul? Do you know that he has a prison ministry where he, every week for 15 or 20 years, has gone to the jail and poured into people's lives that really need it?
Yeah, God is good. I was going to say, with Chuck, congratulations. That was a great presentation. And, of course, it's never too late. That's the message. Doesn't matter. You know, I think Chuck and a few of us have a few more years behind us and ahead of us, so it's never too late to get started. What I was going to say is the very first private loan I ever did was a wrap note, and I was the underlying note. And a lot of guys in here are just chasing yield, but education is far more important because I use what I learned as an underlying lender. I got to see the paperwork. I got to see how it gets done. I got to talk to the guy that wrapped me to understand how to do a wrap loan, and that's primarily what I do is wrap loans. So there's plenty of people in here that do those kind of loans. And so if you're willing to learn, that's tuition, right? You're still getting paid. So that's scholarship money right there. So so anyway, don't think that you've got to be the top dog. Try to learn how to do this stuff and do it right. And the paperwork is so important, right? And Jeff Watson is the man for that kind of stuff. So anyway.
I'm really glad you said that. There are people that I have wrapped with that have gone on to do their own wraps and made that step, and it's a beautiful thing. There's also people I've done raps with that I've also loaned to. Lauren's one of them. I don't know if Lauren's in here right now from Alabama, but where? Oh, Lauren, you and I did a rap together. You were my underlying, right? And then you needed money for a duplex, and I loaned it to you on another rap. I mean, how has this been on both sides?
Well, Jim is wonderful to work with, and I would definitely do it again, and made money both directions. So it's a win-win for everybody.
All right. So sometimes, you know, you start working with people and collaborating. One of the things I like about doing the raps is it allows me to work with some of you. Whereas I used to be more solo, and all of a sudden I'm like working with more people. So that's something I've sort of enjoyed. Anyone else have a takeaway? So we're gonna, all right, David, did you already pass the box? Walk down through. Don't make them come to you. You take it to them. We're going to right now. I want to tell you about SiteWire. So come on over. You know, we talked about doing draws and inspections, and man, Tony, that could be a lot of work, can't it? So Tony Williams connected me with SiteWire. How many of you guys have ever heard of or are using SiteWire already? Maybe. Okay. That's awesome. Rebecca, you're using them? Oh, that's amazing. So that can be a bit of work. And what if you could automate that with technology and with people on your team? And that's what SiteWire does. They make it automated and easy, correct, Rebecca? So go ahead and tell us all about it. And they're also a really key sponsor for us, so make sure you connect.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it. How's it going, everyone? My name is Daniel Carr. I'm with SiteWire. To give you the short elevator pitch, SiteWire transforms the draw process for lenders by making it faster and simpler. We integrate photo and video with the project budget, giving you a clear view of the progress. Borrowers are able to request draws and track their progress anytime from their phone. And independent GCs review the submissions in hours, so you can get borrowers approved the same day, if not the same morning. And the beauty of it is it's asynchronous. So as these borrowers are submitting photos on their own time, we're reducing the scheduling burden that comes with field inspections, booking them, getting them out there, having them draw up the report, go back and forth with the lender. And so with SiteWire, you often experience much happier borrowers, lowered risk, and a lot less back office work. So as you're looking to scale as a lender from local to regional to hopefully national, we can help you do that with ease and without having to hire a lot of folks in the back office. The platform automatically reconciles the budget, connects to loan systems, and offers central visibility for all project details. It's easy to adopt, and it dramatically reduces the draw workloads across borrowers and your service team. Sorry, once again, do you mind raising your hand if you're on SiteWire currently? Excellent. Do you mind if I run through slides for 5 minutes? Yeah, they're up there. Should I use this?
Yep, use that. Right.
Awesome. So we are SiteWire. At our core, we're a technology company, but you can really think of us as your service partner, as a partner to you and an extension of your service team. We are currently working with some of the biggest lenders in the country. As you can see here, RCN, American Heritage, Park Place, Skybeam. There were some folks in here who work with Skybeam that had heard of us through them. And while we do work with some of the biggest names in private lending, we take pride in working with smaller lenders and helping them grow and scale efficiently. This was actually created by our CEO to help out a friend of his who helped scale his loan business from about 20 million in originations to about 2 billion in 30 months with 2.5 folks in the back office, 2 full-time, 1 part-time. Just using SiteWire, they were able to scale to that size in a very short period of time. Our CTO comes from Apple. He has a patent on usability. we designed this with simplicity in mind. We wanted to make it as simple and easy to use as possible for both the lender and the borrower. We understand that's of utmost importance and in helping getting you through your day and your week as easily as possible. So what we're known for is perfecting remote virtual draw inspections verified by a GC. We also offer the draw management platform on top of that, and we have a ability to get you snapshots to stay on top of the property condition from underwriting through exit, just to do site surveys, health checks, whatever you may need. This is what it looks like on the borrower's end. So when they're ready to request money and build a draw, they just pop up into the app. They see this. They are able to click into any line item in the budget, take their photos and videos, submit them. That goes to our third-party GCs that we contract with, who turn that around in a matter of hours, and then have that on the lender's desk for approval, so you can do same-day draws with ease. This is what it looks like on the lender's end over here on the web portal. So the borrowers are on the phone, and the lenders are on the web portal. This is what it looks like on the borrower's end, so they can see all of their properties right there. And from a lender's perspective, when you're charging for draws already, we're helping to hopefully help you reduce that price and or reduce the time that it takes for a draw. And you will basically be able to see all the properties in there as a borrower. And so to request money, you just hit edit request, pop in, click on the line item, go into requesting money for cabinets, take 1 video, 4 photos. It walks through a very, very easy step-by-step guided process. And once that's submitted, it goes to RGCs for the review. This is what it will look like on the draw bucket lifecycle. So when the borrowers are drafting, it's in that bucket. When we're inspecting it, it's in that one. Currently, these are all done with the inspection and pending the lender's approval. And then once they're approved, they move to that bucket. So you can see all the properties that you're lending on at any time. You can go back and see the communication, the credit amounts, any documents that were sent back and forth. It's all going to live there for you forever. So you have access to it. Really quickly, this is what it looks like on the lender side. There you can see the financial aspects and all the job items. There's also quick notification tools that are built in if you need to ensure that title insurance is current. You want to look at lien waivers, get a receipt for everything over $10,000. There's quick notification tools built in for you to communicate with the borrower. And when they receive that text message, push notification, or email, regardless of how they send it back, it's automatically collected and stored for you under that property. This is the draw review. So we're automating the accounting for you. You can see the quick notification tool there. These are the approval amounts. Anything that you need to override, you can do to amend and edit the draws. Now, this is an insight into a single job item with the photos and the videos. And this is something really cool that we have. So we offer AI insights on the photos themselves. So you're able to generate insights to see what you're looking at, and it can say, okay, you're looking at a PEX pipe, not a PVC pipe in this picture, or this is only X% installed. And we also, through our CEO's relationships, have access to permit and cost data feeds that no one else has. And so we're able to utilize those down to the zip code across the country. These are the quick notification tools I talked about, and this is just honing on the fact that we are centralizing everything from budget to visual progress to communication to document collection all in one area for you to make it a lot easier to see everything that goes along with the project. And this is all it takes. There's not really much of a change of process. You just copy and paste the budget, the line item, and the scope of work from your spreadsheet into our web portal. And once you click Create Budget, that will then invite the borrower to join the app. And the communication's white labeled so it looks like it's coming from you. And once they download the app, their property's already in there and everything is already loaded up and ready for them to start taking photos and videos of to request their draw. These are the PDF reports. Capital partners love these. They're extremely easy to look at. We're approved by most. These are the companies that we contract with to do the reviews. And this is something that, is there a way to play this? Let's see here. Yeah. Okay, no worries. What this video is, and I can show you at our booth on my laptop afterwards, we're working on something that's currently used internally for, it's in R&D and it's currently used internally, but we're able to recreate the job site in 3D using the sensor data that we're collecting from the phone itself. We control the hardware in the app. The photos and videos that are being taken are through our camera that we built out through the app, so you can't take them separately and then upload them. We're controlling the hardware in the phone so that we can collect all this sensor data, and part of that is used for this here, which is eventually, we're looking forward to releasing, but the ability to recreate the job site in 3D. It's truly fascinating. I'll show you on my laptop if you want to swing by the booth after. And part of that is to address our anti-fraud is market leading. Like I said, we control the hardware in the phone so those GPS readings can't be compromised. That was done intentionally. And with that being said, all the sensor data that we're collecting, we can look at spatial elevation, distance from the camera to the surface that you're taking a picture of, how long you were standing there, what angle you were facing. If the house that's outside that window is red, but on Google Maps it's blue, it'll be flagged immediately. So, like I said, we can analyze time on site, 3D positioning, pose. We can enforce condition tours if the GCs need more material than they were given by the borrower. And we're able to use the real-time feed of 80 million plus of material and labor costs to help verify those pictures and claims of what was spent. These are some people who love using SiteWire. We're happy, we love our clients, and we really take pride in becoming an extension of you and your service team. Part of the beauty of it is not having to deal with those frantic borrower calls. Where's my money? Jenny and her team will handle those calls graciously and become a great representation of you and your team. And honestly, Jenny's not here, but most times when I go to conferences, people run up to our booth first thing in the morning and they say, "Where's Jenny? I want to say hi or give her a hug or say thank you," because that's really how great she is from a customer service perspective. Her and her team are top of the line. So the moment you've all been waiting for, pricing. There's no monthly, there's no recurring, there's no upfront cost. It is $95 per draw for single family with a GC review. The borrower, we charge the lenders that, and then typically compared to a field inspection, a lot of the field inspections that we see are double to quadruple that price. And so a lot of the lenders are saving time and money there. And you can pass that cost along, that cost savings along to the borrower, or keep the difference. We're not here to tell you what to do with that, but we are here to tell you that we can probably do it for a lot less money in a lot less time. With that being said, it is $60 for single family without the GC review. If you wanted to do those reviews yourself in your licensed GC, just for access to the software and the service team, the support. And then $15 for the site surveys, or the health checks, as we call them. And the first two are free, so it costs nothing to sign up. We can get you onboarded nearly in the same day we pitch you, and you can probably get those first two draws out there the same day, if not the next, and help you start doing same-day draws. So first two draws are on us. We always like to say, give it to one person who's not so tech-savvy, one who is, see what they both come back and say. I think they'll both come back and talk about how much they love it and how easy it is to use. And that is SiteWire. I was going to see if there's anyone on SiteWire that had anything that they wanted to share about how it helped their operations. I would love to share that with the rest of you all. Thanks, Parker.
Yeah. Parker Grissom with REI Funding Partners. We're a lender out of Alabama. What Daniel was saying earlier, we love SiteWire. He didn't ask me to do this. This has been a huge change for our company. We onboarded about a year ago. We probably handle about 35 draws a month. That's a lot of work. And so as a lender in the private lending space, if you think about your borrower, they want to have this easy, convenient. We've kind of evolved through our draw process, going from the inspector that would take 2 weeks to get out there, it costs $300-400, to then go into FaceTimes, and we would have to schedule a FaceTime. Imagine doing 35 of those a month. You got to coordinate that. Then we found you guys at another conference and onboarded. Now it's become a revenue stream for us. They've cut our draw process or draw expense in half. So we're charging, $300 for a draw. We pay $95 for SiteWire. It's convenient. Instead of them calling for a FaceTime inspection, they just upload photos to the app, videos. We pay for the GC referral or review, and it's done. So it's been a blessing for us and increased our revenue, man. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Parker. I appreciate that. Tony, thank you. Tony's the reason why I ended up here, and so I want to thank Tony as well.
No, I appreciate you guys. So no, when I first started with Randy, it was just me going out and doing all the draws and going to all the properties. And as we grew, we couldn't grow anymore because I was literally driving to every draw or every job site, doing the draws, tracking it all, trying to take the pictures, uploading it all. And it got to be overwhelming, and to the point where it was like, here's where we are. I can't do anymore. Do we hire somebody to do something like that? And then it's actually Windy Suite. So, and if you don't know Windy Suite, Sunrisers, 7:15 every morning, wonderful experience. Or Friday. I get nervous. I know y'all don't think that, but Windy Sweet told us about it, and then we got to talking to them. And Jenny, he was talking about. We spent just a few minutes with her, tested it out. So for us, we do roughly about 70, 75 draws a month, and it changed the dynamic for us because now not only do we get to see everything, but our borrowers love it because they used to have like a 2 or 3 day window. They'd have to get a hold of me and say, hey, I've got a draw coming up. Can you meet me out there? It's no longer like that. They show up on the property, get those pictures taken, get those videos taken, and they handle it all there. We just get the notification, and then we get to look through it all, and it has saved us not only time and money, but our borrowers are happier on that avenue too. So they've, anytime that they tell the people that they're referring to us saying, hey, they make it easy, it's because of SiteWire. It makes us easier to deal with too. So I appreciate that.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. Yep. So there's a couple testimonials, and if you're, yep.
Do you go anywhere? I mean, if you're in a rural area, or if you're 2 hours from, a major city, or from where the office is, like.
Great question, and thank you for asking. I kind of skipped over that. Yeah, so it's done virtually, right? So we're putting the borrowers in charge of taking those photos and videos. When they upload it, it goes to our third-party GCs. So anywhere that they have a project, we go, right? And we have inspectors on both coasts, all 3 time zones. So you're getting extra hours in both the morning and the afternoon. Our app works offline. So if you're in a rural area or you're in a basement and you take those photos and you upload them, we will still get them whenever you get back to service. So to answer your question, yes, we do work in rural areas. I don't go there myself. The borrower can also assign other folks in their app. So if they want to assign their GC or their family, they're able to do that as well.
They also can track their location of the photos through whatever y'all are doing. Yeah, geofencing. So we have borrowers that have multiple deals with us to make sure it's the right property that they're doing a draw for. It has their location stamped there.
Yep. And Yep. So just to answer your question and finish off, yeah. So we're pulling data location from the parcel itself. So on that end, you're able to see where the picture is being taken on the parcel, and we're using geofencing, spatial location. So as you can see right there. That's how we know exactly what angle the camera was facing. Oops. Oh, I'm sorry about that. We know, what angle the camera was facing for how long and what the distance is from that to the site that was captured. Yep.
I'm sorry. You're fine. Are you guys intervening into the financial process, or you're just the money doesn't send to you and you send it to for the draw, or the lender just does it the way they normally do?
We're not currently processing the payments ourselves. Those documents that you can request will be collected automatically and stored under that property. And there's also a tool for you to mark it as paid so that you know that that draw has been paid off.
So when they request a draw and you say, well, show me your receipts that the contractor was paid, or show me the receipt that shows the roofer is satisfied and is not going to put a lien on the property, that can be included in this process.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Make sure to please restate the question for the audience on Zoom.
No problem. The question is, a lot of us in here, I believe, use a software called Rehab Valuator. So I create my construction budget in that platform, and I even include in that my lender package and all of my financing or cash or whatever it is. So as I am paid out and paid, do you collaborate your software into those kind of programs that manage a project management software, or do you just work with the lender?
Great question. So we don't currently have any sort of partnership with that group, but we do have open-end API integrations that we can build into products like that. And you putting it on making us aware of it, we can put that on our roadmap to make sure that that we're able to do that. That would be great. Thank you. Yeah, so we can build API integrations with a lot. And another thing that we're working on, 2 things that we're working on rolling out this year, in addition to recreating the job site in 3D, is integrating into LOS systems. And then on the topic of your question, we're working on rolling out budget feasibility reports. We're looking to charge $195 for those and have them turned around in 48 hours. Okay. Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thanks everyone. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to do a borrower panel. So if I've talked to you today and you would like to be on our borrower panel, come on up. And then we're going to do a lending panel, okay? So we're going to close these out, get these moving. We're running a little behind schedule all of a sudden. Come on up, Forrest. Who else? David Sugg, come on up. Go ahead. No, okay, all right. Who else is borrower heavy? Who else borrows a lot of money? Patty Bain, for sure. Come on up. Come on up. Come on, Yvonne. Have a seat, guys. Okay, so we're going to do Q&A with investors that are active and pretty busy. Tom Nardone, for sure, come on up. You're building all those houses, and, man, you're doing mobile homes and all kinds of fun stuff.
Do we need
so
more
Forrest,
chairs?
tell us who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
Forrest McGee, we're out of Richmond, Virginia. Real quick, how many Virginians are in this room? Huh? Yeah. Look at that. All right, half the room. Awesome. Okay. All right, welcome to cold Florida. Goodness gracious.
It's going to be 70 here tomorrow. Doesn't that sound good?
I'm definitely not the largest fish in the room by any means, but I do wholesale fix and flips when I feel like it, and that's less and less these days. And then I like low dollar deals that I can wrap with seller financing.
That's good.
So we do that, and that's me. And I run Dealmaker Richmond. Thank you for allowing that.
Love it. Patty Bain?
I'm Patty Bain. I'm from Virginia right now, Richmond, and I do a lot of fix and flips. We have some Airbnbs, and I do some wholesale.
How many rehabs have you done in the last year, would you guess? Plus or minus 5?
20.
That's a lot, yes. All right, love it. David? Here, you want to give him the mic?
Hey, David Sugg, Jackson, Mississippi. My wife and I partner together, and we have a couple different businesses. One's Airbnbs. We cater to traveling nurses primarily. We got some
My
HUD
favorite.
rentals.
Love them.
About 2 years ago, we got into the sober living homes. We got 10 of those. We have about 60 beds with 50 clients that rent by the bed.
Love
it's
it.
a pretty robust business, but we're learning, and it's a lot of fun being of service. And then we do some micro lending out of our IRAs, and then other money and credit lines that we have. So just all kinds of stuff.
And you're building some houses.
Started new construction. It's fun. I like it.
Good.
But I don't know how profitable it's going to be.
All right, Yvonne.
Ivan Malpica. I live in Orlando, but my market is the Midwest, St. Louis, Missouri specifically. Been investing for about a little over 10 years now. Mostly single families, but about the last 3 years I've been doing mobile home parks. So we've been rehabbing the units, and then we're selling them off to our tenants as we keep the land. So I have 2 parks now, looking for a third this year, and also looking for some funds on one of my parks, about $300,000 to refinance and then keep expanding on that park.
Okay. Tom?
My name is Tom Nardone. I'm from about 2 hours south of here in Punta Gorda, Florida. And I've been in this business since 1985. Some of my earliest mentors I learned from were guys like Jack Miller, John Schaub, Pete Fortunato, and Jimmy Napier, the originals. Right now, I did fix and flips over the years and a lot of buy and holds. Right now, my business model in my Southwest Florida area looks like mobile homes. I simply buy a brand new lot. I'm not a mobile home park guy necessarily, but I do scattered lots here and there. I'll buy a lot, put a brand new mobile home on it, and when you marry the land together with the mobile home, and it's brand new, a brand new mobile home qualifies for VA, FHA, and USDA financing. So we just sell those, cash out to buyers, and I try to do one of those deals each year in my retirement buckets, like
Good
HSA, self-directed Roth IRA, and solo case. So it's tax-free as well. I'm older than 59 and a half, so it takes
Just
me a while
barely.
to figure things out.
Just barely, Tom.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, Tom, do you share a tip on being a great borrower?
Share a tip. Well, one tip, and I don't mean this to be a plug, but Jim
It's okay.
invited me to put out some flyers, which I'll do when we break for lunch.
Oh, yeah, we got the investor cruise coming up.
Yeah,
Who's
this-
on the Investor Addicts cruise? I will see you
All right.
guys all there. We're going to Aruba together. Go ahead.
Great, great. I guess the biggest tip I can give you was back in the day, I know Bill and Kim Cook have done cruises in the past, and Walter Wolford and Quincy Long have done cruises. And I started going on those Financial Friends Network cruises for years. And I was like, this is a super value. You pay like a couple $100 for the conference fee, and then whatever Royal Caribbean gets for your room, they get. And I've been in mastermind groups where I've paid as much as $20,000 for the year to meet 4 times with people. And I thought, man, you could go on a cruise 2 or 3 times a year for a fraction of the cost. So when I was on those cruises, I noticed that, you know, if you ever have the microphone on the cruise to explain what your business model looks like, ultimately people would come up to you afterwards and say, hey, I like what you're doing. I'd like to do something with you. Well, I learned in those cruise experiences that because Quincy Long was involved, it attracted a lot of retirement account holders, obviously due to Quest. And I realized there's a lot of retirement account holders on the ship, as well as younger people who have deal flow. And those 2 things, right, retirement accounts and deal flow, go together very well. It's a really good marriage. So I was able many times to borrow in excess of 7 figures just by going on the cruises. So then COVID hit, and Quincy and Walter didn't want to do it anymore. So we retitled it, changed the name. It's Investor Addicts now. And we kept the cruises going. It's not just me, but also Peggy and Tanya. As a team, we wanted to see the cruises keep going. So I would say the tip is when you're locked up on a ship for a week with people, it's a real opportunity to make friends over a week's time, and you'll find capital partners and funding sources that will last you for life.
It's a good tip.
So, yep.
All right, who's got a question for borrowers? Tony? All right, hang on.
I got a quick tip. So
Go ahead.
How's it going, Jim?
ahead.
So I do my due diligence up front. I provide a spreadsheet with tabs, my construction costs, my purchase price, the ARV. I get comps. I get a third party. Now I'm a realtor, but I also bring in another realtor to give me other comps. The ROI, I have another tab for that. If it's in a flood zone, I also call the city and do all that. So we have like a checklist of what we do for the DD. We provide our DD sheet to our lenders as we request funds.
You want a tip? I can tell you, when COVID hit, it was, I guess, March, April, we lost, I don't know, $60,000 worth of bookings in one day. And I had to take a hard look at what I was about to do. I had about 20 different private lenders. I sat down and made those tough calls and said, I don't know what's fixing to come down the pike. What do you want to do? And I listened to each and every one of them, and they all had different ideas of how they wanted to handle it. Some of them wanted to go interest only. Some of them wanted to defer payments. Some of them said, let's just see how it goes. I thanked them all. Every one of them made those tough calls, and we didn't miss a payment. Thankfully, our business cranked right back up. But making those calls, I built relationships for life, and people just really appreciated that. And there were a lot of other people in my market that stuck their head in the sand, and they're wiped out now. They're gone. So just transparency, vocalizing, letting people know what's going on. There's no real return on investment of that.
So as a lender, besides rate and term, what are the things that your lenders are doing for you that are helping you that we could be better at?
Wow. There's a change of perspective.
I mean, I've been saved a couple times, just somebody else looking over my shoulder and saying, man, if this thing can't really sustain, 12% interest cost, do you really want to be doing the deal? Because I start really trying to chisel them down, not because I wanted to make more money, because I had to make the deal work. And that saved me just a less profitable deal and a bunch of headache.
I like the way, David, that you approached all your lenders when things went south. You didn't run and hide. You didn't bury your head in the sand. Like, you made those tough calls. And as lenders, we all want borrowers like that. Yvonne, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I've had a couple go south for sure, and luckily I had some other collateral for them to utilize, and just being open to something like that. Anything can happen. Mine particularly, which calling the city is on my checklist now, and asking about the specific property. Apparently, the city was trying to buy this property before me. Somehow I bought it before them, and they forced me to sell. So I lost about $20,000 on that deal. And the private lender, of course, held the note. So we then recollateralized that $20,000 on another property of mine. And then I ended up actually selling that property to make him whole. So I think just having kind of what Chuck said, I'm always going to pay. It's an ethical thing. It's more in your heart that you're going to pay back, and just having that relationship. I guess building that relationship with your lender, and ensuring that you as a lender feel comfortable lending the money to a borrower, and ensuring that you will get whole. Of course, can't guarantee everything, but just understanding that.
All right, I've got a question for all of you guys. What is one way you're going to find great deals in 2025? Who'd like to know that answer? Oh, I knew what you guys are thinking. So go on down. Tom, what is one way, just one method that you plan to find your deals this year?
Well, I think it's, for me, in 2025, it's more about where I look for those deals. For what I do, I've had great success using that one app called Deal Machine. Does anybody here use that app? Driving for Dollars? It's a great Driving for Dollars app. That's been my one key to
Deal Machine.
My business model. But I think in 2025, I'm going to focus more on the market that I'm going to. Because my market, I know you own stuff in Southwest Florida, it's very slow right now.
Southwest Florida is
I'm going to find
shifting.
a market that's moving in my direction, jump in front of it, and let it run
What
me
markets
over.
have your attention? Where do you think you're going to be looking?
Well, I have a son that just moved to Greenville, South Carolina, so I'm a little more biased toward that area, and it seems like a good area.
All right. Vaughn, how are you going to find deals this year?
Yeah, so I'm always looking. I'm very direct, so I literally reach out to every broker, every realtor, and I say, hey, I love your deal, but can you get me in front of your seller? So I'm getting directly in front of the seller that way. I kind of just tell them, hey, and if they don't want to, that's on them, but I tell them, you're going to get your commission. Just get me in front of your seller. That's all I need, because I understand that you probably need to sell this.
So you like to leverage the MLS still?
Oh, yeah, I leverage MLS. Every list out there.
Wholesalers too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that too. But, I mean, there's potential sellers, right? So they're there.
All right, David, how about you? How are you finding deals in Mississippi this year?
I track foreclosures, so I go get them out of the newspaper, and I try to get a hold of the seller before they get the steps, help them get out of the foreclosure process if they can. If they can't, I might bite at the steps, so that's one thing. Door knocking, really hard stuff, people that a lot of wholesalers or agents don't want to do. I mean, it's gritty. And then I look for really just horrible projects. I like the uglier the better. I'm a contractor. We build, we do stuff, but just like projects, people are like, I don't know what to do with that. So I can do that. So
You have some foundation issues in Mississippi, don't you?
and that's one thing I don't like. That's just you can't fix the dirt underneath it. And I've lost more money trying to hold a foundation up than
And knocking on doors, it works.
absolutely it works.
Does this
Oh, yeah.
still work, Bill Cook? Kim, sorry. It works, doesn't it? You guys teach it. All right. Go ahead, Patty. I mean, you have consistent deal flows. You've rehabbed 20 houses in the last year.
Currently, I have a VA that I'm paying a couple $100 a month. They're just scouring the MLS, scouring off-market deals if they can find them. They just sent me 3 this morning. So, but in 2025, I am going to be focusing on building Fair Oaks funding, and I am getting out of. I'm a licensed GC in Richmond, and yeah, it's time to move into
You're
the
going to
lending
move from
space.
sticks and bricks to wires and
Yes.
checks?
Yes, I'm going to move in. I have 6 deals I'm finishing up currently. Should be done by March 1st. That's our goal. And then I'm going to turn that money into lending it out.
Has anyone else in the room gone from rehabbing to lending? It's a nice transition. Forrest, how are you finding deals this year?
So a few years ago, we were beating our head against the cold calling and texting and all that stuff, and trying to create motivation and be like, hey, you know, your water's about to be shut off. And they're like, screw you, right? So, so we
The whole
reverse
city of Richmond had the water shut off this week.
We reverse engineered our best deals in like 2022, 2023. We just found out that those are the people that were ready, willing, and able to make a deal. So we pivoted everything to inbound marketing. And so they're ready to have a conversation. It's just more about timing than trying to create motivation and saying, hey, you got a splinter in your eye, let me take it out for you, because they get a little upset at that. So that's what we do. We do inbound marketing. It could be pay-per-click, SEO, pay-per-lead, direct mail. We just started. It's actually starting to hit
Direct
today.
mail is timeless.
So it's timeless, and it's really the only thing that doesn't get regulated, right? So you know, everything else everybody has a problem with. So that's what we're doing,
And it's gotten easier because in 2006, I did lots and lots of direct mail, and my kids were in middle school. They used to help me put the stamps and address labels on. Now it's all automated. So how do you do your direct mail in 2025?
There's people that do it better than I do, but there was a time that I did it where I, you know, bought a list. Right, there's great
Yellow
list
letters,
sources, and then you go There's all kinds of ways to buy a list. You can build it yourself. You can buy the list stacked and filtered. So then you can go to the mail house, and then I did kind of like what some smarter people in the room do, is I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go to Investor Machine and let them do it for me. And
Who do you like to use, Investor Machine?
yeah, they do everything. You
Nice.
know, you pay for the service, but they do
course.
everything, and you're going to pay for it one way or another. So
There you go. Who's got a question for our borrower panel? Oh, this is creating some interesting discussions. Okay. Jeff, you can go first here.
As a borrower, what is the biggest turnoff a lender can do to you? Assuming you're performing on time.
What don't you like the lenders do?
I've got a couple lenders that like are just determined on getting velocity. I mean, it's just like if I'm slow to the closing table, or what, they're literally worried about 1 day of interest, and it's just like, chill out, bro. You're gonna get paid. It's gonna be okay. But some people are just have to have that money on the street immediately. It's like it's gonna happen.
Yep. Yvonne?
I'm in the same. Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, I got my money. Can you push it out there? And it's like, I don't know how to deal yet. I'm sorry.
Yvonne.
So it's just pushing and pushing just to get it out there. And you know, I want good deals, not just to make. You know, I don't want a poor deal just to make deals. But yeah.
Yes, as lenders, we got to be careful. When we get our money back, we want it reinvested. But if you push your investor too much, they'll end up stretching just to keep your money active, and they'll make a bad deal. It's bad for you and it's bad for the investor. I've seen it happen. It's a good point. Tom?
I would say probably my favorite part on the construction loans, which are relatively short term, is payments. I don't want to have to make payments.
Oh.
Just push it all off to the closing, and they get paid on the HUD.
Oh, boy. All right.
I'm
I
at
like-
the wrong
as a
conference.
as a
That was a
lender,
borrower's
there's
answer
something
right there.
called
This
the
is a
pain of the
lending
payment.
conference. I know.
Objection, move to strike.
But I get it. Like when my kids were in college, both my daughters flipped houses in college. They didn't have a W-2. They didn't have money. They didn't have cash reserves. We did interest accruing. We actually did equity sharing, which is another way to do that. They split 50-50 with their private lender and didn't make payments. But as a lender, I like the pain of the payment, as Quincy says.
So I have a potential solution for that I think works for both lenders and borrowers. And I stole this from the commercial space where I'm in some self-storage development and we're getting a big commercial loan, but we're not going to have cash flow for 4 years as we develop this storage. So the bank actually rolls the interest into the loan. So if I had a $10 million loan and just say $800,000 worth of interest, we would be borrowing $10,800,000. That $800,000 goes into a reserve account, which is used to pay the interest during the 4 years before we have cash flow. So I, as a lender, am getting ready to translate that into my borrowers who don't want to pay interest until the end. Then we're going to have the ability to roll that interest into the loan. So let's just make up numbers. Let's say it's a $100,000 loan, $10,000 interest. The promissory note will say $110,000. I'll fund $100 during the purchase and draws. $10,000 will go in a reserve account, and every month I will pay my company from the reserve account the interest payment. So it protects everybody. The borrower doesn't have to come up with the cash. The lender gets some cash flow to pay employees and software and whatnot. The only downside to the borrower is you're paying interest on that interest because it's rolled into the note, but that's really only a few $100s potentially over a 6-month note. So I just stole that from the commercial world to try to do that for flipping lending.
So as borrowers, would you love a scenario where you had 100% financing, didn't have to pay points, and had all the interest at the end?
Yes.
Sounds nice.
Of course, I know.
I'd like to answer Jeff's question.
Go ahead.
So I understand, protecting yourself. We protect ourselves in the deals too, but keep it simple, right? I mean, you guys can really overcomplicate things. That's one thing. Then the other thing is, once you agree to something, don't change. Don't try to renegotiate
Show up.
the deal.
Yeah. Your commitment and your integrity is everything.
And then
Steve Zahala, go ahead.
And then don't be afraid to say no to us. I mean, there's more than one person in the room.
Okay.
So if it's not a deal for you, or if it's a personality thing, like Chuck was saying with his rap lending, don't do the deal. Just don't do it.
All right, here's one a little off the radar that I only know about it because it happened to me. Do you have, I find we frequently, and I'm in the same boat you guys are, frequently we know more than who we're borrowing from. And sometimes we know the pitfalls before they happen. But we've seen this, I think everybody in the room has seen this. What provisions do you do for drop dead protection? If you drop dead tomorrow, how are your lenders going to be protected? Do you have life insurance? Do you have the pieces? I had this happen to me where I could have lost a lot of money. I got lucky that the way it was structured, it was okay. But have you considered that drop dead protection? Because I use it as a selling point to my lenders. I've got drop dead protection. We've got certain measures in place that, in the situation I was in, if you drop dead, do you think your lenders are going to want to go to your spouse and start saying, well, how am I going to get paid? How long are they going to wait? What's going to happen? And we've seen many people where their estates are not nearly as good as their business activity that causes chaos. I've just thrown it out there as a something to think about.
Well, you can have somebody assign you some life insurance if you need to.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, I have definitely personal life insurance that covers my portfolio and then some. However, I guess I have another question on that. Back to you guys, to the crowd. Is there a way to add life insurance per, a specific line item in your home insurance? Can you have a home insurance policy you know, you have your rentals policy, whatever. Is there a separate line item that you can have for a drop dead policy specifically for that property? Just a question out there. Something to add.
You can't do it with a homeowner's policy. What you may want to do is take out a 10 or 15-year term life policy with a level premium and then change the beneficiary to add one of your lenders to the amount of the loan. And then when that loan pays off, just do a new change of beneficiary form to get them off. Don't forget to get them off. Because I mean, you know, I wouldn't complain if I was the lender and, you know, I've got paid back in August and then September I get another check. That'd be kind of ugly, but yeah, don't do it. So don't forget to make that change. But that's one way of doing it. You can with an existing life insurance policy, you can adjust beneficiaries ongoing. I've had to do that for other reasons in my business.
Good question. Anyone else? All right, here we go. Hey, Ron. You having a good time?
Boatloads. This is fun. So thanks for being on the panel, folks. 2 questions really quick. Local or remote? It sounds like everyone's doing local, but do you do any remote work? And how do you now or will you plan to incorporate AI into your business?
Oh, now you're talking.
So I did do remote work. I was licensed in Indiana and Chicago, and then I moved to Kentucky for a little bit. And I was doing remote work between 3 states. For 6 months, about 6-7 months, I was going back and forth between Richmond and Kentucky, probably every 3 to 4 weeks. I had boots on the ground there, but
that's the
sometimes
key,
you really
isn't it?
can't fully trust them, so I was doing my own, going back and forth. I will say that it takes a lot of management. It takes a lot of calls, a lot of being in a bunch of different places at one time. I probably wouldn't recommend that, remote managing, unless you had a really, really good boots on the ground. It kind of killed me for a minute going back and forth. So I kind of let all the jobs go in those 2 states and then completely went to Virginia where most of my work was. We got it done. We got the property sold in Kentucky. You know, we had an Airbnb there that we flipped there. We got it done, but it was a lot of work, and I don't know that I would.
Yeah,
do
and
that again.
I have invested and built both in Virginia and in Florida, so I've done it as well. Both built new construction in Florida and bought a lot of rentals, a lot of apartments. And the key is your boots on the ground, your contractor, your property manager. And if you can't trust them, you shouldn't be doing it. It is a lot of work, and your costs will be higher than your local market for sure. Mine were. I get a great pricing. I've had a really established team of contractors in Virginia. I had to go get different contractors in Florida. They were higher. Everything was a little bit more expensive, so it's something to be aware of. But building that team is critical if you're going to try it. It's always easier at home, isn't it, Patty? Any other questions? We've got time for like 1 more or 2. Here we go. Go ahead.
AI.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about AI. I love AI, as you guys know. Forrest, you're warming up to it.
I'm the kind of person that I'm sure somebody can do it better than I, so I don't even try half the time. So
Yep.
you know, I mean, but you know, our list building's all done with AI now, and
How do you list build?
well, I don't do it. I pay somebody.
Well, who do you pay? Like what service?
Investor Machine.
Oh,
They do it
everything's
all.
back to
Yeah.
Investor Machine.
So it's, I mean, the thing is, I mean, we can't be great at everything, right? I mean, we're busy trying to convince people to do
Sell.
something that they don't necessarily need to do if they had enough knowledge to do it themselves, right? We're getting people to sell their house, and we know for less money than they could if they had the skills.
They
and
got to be
resources.
motivated,
They have to be
and
motivated.
preferably
They-
3 or 4 motivations.
And everybody has a reason, right?
Yeah.
And so, we spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money finding these deals. And then, then we bring it, to the investor that, hey, do you want, to partner on these deals? But you can do it many ways. Door knocking, that's a great way. I don't have the bandwidth for that. But I just choose to pay a company that's going to create the best list and give me
Okay.
the best shot.
So
out
it's
of the gate.
AI-based list building?
Yeah.
Yvonne, what were you going to say?
Yeah, for me, how I use it as a borrower, AI, I use it for any impasse that I may have with my seller. I'll actually tell
Oh.
the ChatGPT, hey, this is the issue I'm having. The seller wants this and I want that. How do we come to terms? And it will do that. So it spits out different offers too. And I may adjust, hey, the seller wants 5%. On the seller financing, but I want 3 or 0. How can we, what's the impasse here? What's the common ground?
What kind of tips does it give you?
Yeah, so mostly it's on the offer side. So hey, you could, if he wants 500,000, well maybe we give him 600 at a lower interest rate or something like. It'll give different scenarios
Oh.
based on so I use it for offers. Basically.
Are you doing that in ChatGPT?
ChatGPT?
I like it. Who would like to get some help on negotiating? That was neat. You do the paid version or free version?
I'm sure the free version would do that, but I do pay for it.
I like the paid version. It's like
I love the
$20
paid
or
version.
$40 a month.
Yeah.
$20. It's a good deal, right? I'm working on a custom chat GPT for wrap lending. You want to hear about that?
I do.
So when you're doing wrap lending, there's a number of inputs that affect your ROI. The biggest one is the leverage that Chuck talked about, but there's others too, the arbitrage on interest, the points, how long the loan goes. And when you go into a loan up front, you don't always know exactly what your projected ROI is. I trained my chat GPT how to do it for me, and I'm packaging it into a custom GPT that'll be ready next week. So I'll give you guys info when I get it up and running.
There's a website.
Chuck, will you test it for me? Okay.
There's a website called Axiom.
Axiom? Okay.
And what that does, that's a scraper. So instead of you going through Facebook and looking at all the houses for sale, it'll just spit you out a spreadsheet of
Nice.
everything.
Axiom.io.
Yeah, it's relatively inexpensive.
How do you spell that?
AXIOM.
Yeah. And so we're actually doing in February, the Dealmaker Richmond Group's doing an AI special. So
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so you guys are interested. In the
We did it in
Virginia
Inner
area.
Circle last month. It was a lot of fun. Now,
But
you had a question first here.
AI
You're back?
is
Well, I
just,
got
it's
this
just
one.
a tool for us to maximize our
Here you go.
time. That's all it is.
Oh, you were just stretching? Oh, it was.
Just waving my arms.
Well, we're going to sing in a minute. So Sharon and Tim, do you guys want to get ready? Okay.
So this is I'm gonna open up the question. Really, it's really for everyone, but to hear what you guys say up there on the stage. I'm a really big believer in targeted marketing. I just think that I see so many people missing an opportunity to hit a very specific group. And I see a lot of very generic marketing, like, we buy houses is so generic, right? Like, for example, I'm doing something with seniors. That is very targeted, right? So what I'm interested in knowing is, have any of you had any success? Have you tried it? Have you had any success with it? And also, would you partner with, would it be of any interest at all to partner with someone who is doing that, who's got the copywriting, who's got the plan to partner up with someone so that those deals that come in on that target market would be deals that they do with you?
Good question.
Well, I'll say I do agree with you on target marketing. My particular model is very niche focused. I mentioned I'm putting new mobile homes on empty lots. Well, here in Florida, we have a cleansing process for old mobile homes called hurricanes, right? So when you take that Deal Machine app and you're driving down a street of mobile home neighborhoods near the ocean, you'll look and you'll say, hey, there used to be a mobile home there. Now there's just scraps of wood laying everywhere and a set of steps and a power pole. That guy's getting a postcard. So you can take one day, especially right now, like 3 months after 2 major hurricanes, right, that took out the coast, you can literally drive through neighborhoods in Southwest Florida in my area that I live in, all the way as far as Tampa, And you could assemble a list of thousands of properties, and you're the only one who has that list. That's what I like about that Deal Machine app. And then you could set them up on a drip campaign where they'll get direct mail from you regularly. So there's not a lot of people that do the mobile home market. A lot of rehabbers are running around looking at houses that are destroyed. And I did that model for a long time, but I'd rather just pick up the phone, order a brand new mobile home, it shows up. I don't have one trip to Home Depot. The keys are dangling in the lock. It'll be a double wide, so it needs to be put together, but it doesn't get any simpler than that. So it's got to do with the model you're pursuing also, because that's going to determine your target, right?
I don't do any target marketing. I just reach out to brokers and realtors and have a chat.
Yeah, I don't really do a whole lot of paid-for marketing. I'm really just relationship-based, and then I do a lot of my own work. But when relationships are highly targeted, you know, to property managers, out-of-state investors, portfolio owners. So it is targeted, but I don't like the passive marketing. I'm better face-to-face and getting to know people.
I say the same thing. So I've set up relationships. I've gotten a lot of my deals through relationships. I have an acquisitions guy that I do not pay. He only gets paid when I buy a deal. So he has brought me a couple deals, and it has worked out really well. He doesn't want to be a partner in the deal, but he has all of the lead generation. He is set up to do this. He buys and sells a lot of land. And so we came up with an agreement of he would find a property, I would go look at it, I would tell him what I want to pay, and then he keeps the spread. And that has really worked. The last deal we did, he made $7,200, and that was good for him. He did about maybe 4 hours worth of work and made $7,200, but I was also willing to pay that price because it worked with my numbers. Another way that I have gotten deals with the maybe targeted marketing in that sense is I took a wholesaler out to my properties, and I showed him how to run numbers because, as we all know, most wholesalers don't know how to run numbers. They tell you the rehab's 40, the rehab's 125. So I started taking him out to my properties and told him that I will buy all your deals if the numbers work, but you need to make the numbers work. And so I taught him how to estimate, and I taught him how to do that. And on the first deal that he sold me, he made $40,000 on his wholesale fee. But I was okay with it because the numbers worked for me. We still have that property 5 years later. It's a very good cash flowing Airbnb for us. I took it down to the studs, I renovated it, and I ended up buying, I think, 6 deals off of him that year just by taking him out, showing him how to estimate, and basically just showing him the ropes because he doesn't know. And as a GC, I do know. So it was that relationship was very good for me. It brought me deals, and then also with my acquisitions guy, if you can set that up, you know, just pay him the spread, then you're not out any money for marketing. I don't pay any money for marketing, nothing like that. Like I said, I pay maybe $200 to a VA every month, but that's it. Yeah, the VA is still there. Like I said, she sent me 3 deals this morning, and technically that VA comes through my acquisitions guy, and I just pay her directly to do that, and then he does everything else as far as calling, finding the deal. If it's an off-market deal, he calls the realtor. So he does everything. I mean, he's great. He does everything, and he works with other people too. But the way that it works for us it's been really well. I don't like to pay for marketing. It's just I don't like to pay for things that I don't know if I don't see it. That's just me. But I do really well that way. And so far, you know, like I said, he's brought me a couple deals just today, and I'm gonna look at them, see if they're a good deal, maybe wholesale them. But it works to build the relationships because a lot of wholesalers, they want the volume. And I think that that's been a good thing for me, has been to find one person that, hey, you don't need to go shop this to 20 people. Like, I'm gonna buy it if the numbers work. Let me just teach you how to run those numbers. And so far, that's been how I've been getting all my deals.
Forrest, 30 seconds or less. Answer the question.
I'm equal opportunity. I'll do a deal with just about anybody if it makes sense for me, or if not, I'll find somebody that will. So I think that everybody has problems, and you know that's really I mean, we're in this business to make money, but at the same time, we make money by solving people's problems, and it feels good when we do it. So niche marketing, I'll do anything. I don't care. That was less than 30 seconds.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you very much for our borrower panel. All right, Sharon Rock. Where is Sharon? Thank you. All right, first of all, we got $200 for Chair of the Love so far. $244. That's like one wheelchair, but I want to get more. Would you guys give more if I double it? Okay, we're going to pass it around again. And whatever you get, I'll double it. If anyone else wants to double it with me, let me know.
There's an
Tim
ATM
Davis.
in the building.
Tim's
right
going
next
to
to us.
triple it. You're going to triple it? So there's 3, okay? And if anyone else wants to go into the double, triple, quadruple thing, volunteer. All right. Okay, $244 now, but it's going to go up. But Tim, you and I mean, we were on that bus in Nicaragua together. All right, so Tim is a phenomenal guitarist, and he loves music. And just last week, he did a Facebook post of his guitar. I thought it was actually very moving, Tim. Like, I thought I knew you, but you're really, really great. And we all know Sharon Rock, right? So this is a Deal Maker First, where we're doing guitar and singing together. And I would recommend you stand up for this. Amazing Grace. After this, just go to lunch. You guys know where to go around the corner.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was once lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Feel free to sing. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was once lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Thank you.
Give it up for Tim, y'all. We just did this right before that last panel. And I'll have to say, I have a band back in Louisiana, and I am working on, in process, due time, to audition other musicians where I live out in Miramar, Florida. And this is the first man that I have ever been able to be around since I moved from Louisiana that reminds me of my guys. And so I thank y'all so much for bringing this together. Thank y'all so much. Give it up for Tim, y'all. And thanks for singing. That was really special. Thank you, Jim.
1 hour break for lunch. Isn't that a great way to close it out? Amazing Grace. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was the wretch.